stop.
All right. Well, we're back now, and that's cool. Um, so as I was saying, skateboards, kickflips, fell over,
You
hit
got
my
drunk.
knee. Oh yeah. So I mean, to be fair, I was at the pub and I tried these skateboarding tricks and I did not land them and I fell over and I scraped my knee, but and it's mostly because the board was just far too fucking fat. It was just a big fat fucking board. Now, to be fair, I had also had 2 shots of Fireball, 1 shot of Sambuca, 1 shot of Drambuie, and about 4 beers. But I feel like before I had an 8-inch board that I could still land a kickflip after 2 shots of Fireball, 1 shot of Sambuca, 1 shot of Drambuie, and about 4 beers. You know, it's not normally an issue for me.
Yeah.
And so the issue here is this big fat skateboard. And another issue I have is that a skateboard is a certain amount of inches wide. So 7.5, it's a good amount of inches. Now, the trucks are the metal bit underneath a skateboard. Those trucks, they're also a certain width, right? So they might be 7.5 inches or they might be 8 inches. So now I'm riding an 8-inch board with 7.5-inch trucks. Now you tell me, what the fuck's up with that shit?
What if you ask some young so the guy that I used to teach last year was a really good skater, and he skated a lot
Did
with
I
his
talk
mates.
to him in the class?
And you
Was he there?
did not
No.
talk to him.
I was going to say,
it was in the second half of the year.
if he was a skater,
and
he would have connected.
and yeah, we could have asked him about his setup.
Yeah.
But classic young person. I did try and email him the other day, and his email doesn't work.
Doesn't exist anymore. Yeah.
So that's good. That's to me that's a critical failure point for potentially getting work when your email doesn't work. I feel like that's a place where you may fail to get some important notifications. But look, I'm from a different generation, so
what do you know? Oh man.
So what do I know? So yeah, that there is that. But yeah, well, maybe you'll get used to it, or maybe you're just too fucking old, and you'll never get it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, to be honest, it just seems to me that it's just not the ideal size for a human. Like this skateboard is not the ideal size for doing tricks. This 8-inch business, like it's heavier, right? And so now my trucks are a little bit too little. So obviously I've got to upgrade my trucks to have wider trucks now. So now I'm going to have wider trucks and a wider skateboard. I'm carrying this big fucking fat fucking behemoth about with me all day, every day. It just doesn't make sense to me. It seems illogical, the whole thing. It just, like humans haven't grown at all. I'm starting to feel like I've been conned. I feel like I've been conned by cheapskates in that if I went into a different skate shop, they'd be like, yeah, bro, here's a 7.5. You don't want an 8. That's for fat cunts. You don't want an 8. That's for big, tall, fat people. An 8-inch is like a big, fat whale. And
he sold you a bill of goods.
What he sold me was a fucking surfboard with wheels on it. And I feel like, I feel disappointed. Yeah. I did land 1 kickflip, though. To be fair, I did land 1 kickflip. I didn't not land any kickflips.
Well, good on you, bro. Yeah. Now, speaking of, things that it took 20 years to happen, and
sex,
and the result of 20 years,
you're gonna be a daddy.
I did happen to, not that I know of, I did happen to notice that as I was scrolling through IMDb the other day, that there was a list that I had been tagged in. So I'm part of IMDb. I actually have an IMDb Pro account, which I recently shelled out the big bucks for. IMDb, for those people that don't know, is basically like if you want any information about a film or a person in a film, your first destination is IMDb to look up
Internet Movie
credits.
Database.
That's right. So it's all about credits, the credits that people have as an actor, as a director, the movie, who's in the movies, etc., etc., etc.
Such a strange
And
coincidence that you recently signed up for IMDb as an IMDb Pro member.
well, it's not really a coincidence. It was more well, look, now this is true. People do like look up people on IMDb, as in people looking to work with specific people look up them up on IMDb and find their agents and managers and whatever and get in touch with them. So, in theory, they could do that with me. They could look me up and get in touch with my manager. Now, my manager happens to be me. I happen to be my own manager. So they would just get in touch with me. They would bypass the manager and agent part because I've decided going forward to represent myself.
I should really be your.
This has nothing to.
Your manager, by the way.
Yeah, business manager.
Absolutely.
This has nothing to do with the fact that no one has ever offered to represent me. It has nothing to do with that. This is a choice for me because I don't want to give my 20% to some, Joe Schmo over in America when, I'm making moves over here. It's got nothing to do with the fact that no one from America has ever contacted me in terms of representation. And in fact, I got turned down for representation from the only writer's agent in New Zealand. Now, to be fair, that was that may have been 10 years ago that I got turned down, but it's,
probably try again.
It still stands. I should probably try again.
Well, you should probably try once a week, to be fair. I mean, it should probably be one of those things where you just try once a week until they agree, until you find someone.
Well, there's only one writer, there's only one agent in New Zealand. She'll be sick of me by the second week.
And she'll say, fine, fuck it, get on the books. Fuck it, this annoying prick.
All these people, who have ignored me and not reached out to represent me and
those are two
slightly
different things.
Undervalued my work.
But yes.
What?
Two slightly. They haven't ignored you.
Well, what are you saying? They don't know I exist?
Yes, exactly. They can't ignore you if they don't know you exist, and so you have failed to make them aware of you, and that is the real issue.
To have
as opposed to them failing to come to hear about you come and grab you. Exactly. But that's like, unfortunately,
they failed to have their ear to the ground of
the hip young
film.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Hip young 37-year-old directors.
I feel like
hip young 37-year-old directors.
I feel like actually it's more like the opposite. You've got to have the hustle because there's lots of talented, cool directors out there. You've got to have the hustle to get in front of them. But nevertheless, this will help them. This will help them
because I noticed that I was part of a list.
Yeah.
And that list is the top 100 directors in New Zealand and Australia.
What number were you?
And lo and behold, I was part of this list. And I thought that was valid and well-deserved and incredibly accurate. I did think all of those things. And I thought that really, hit the nail on the head. Of course, I am in the top 100. I'm in the conversation, as I should be. IMDb hasn't failed where all these agents and agencies and business managers have. They have seen my worth and they have acknowledged me for it by putting me on this list. And so I have been rated by IMDb. As per IMDb, I am rated the 99th best director out of 100 best directors in Australasia. So that's not just New Zealand. And that's not just Australia. That's Australia and New Zealand. I am the 99th best director, according to IMDb. Absolutely no way to despair. It's on the list, and I took a screenshot screenshot before it changes, and they realize there was a clerical error. So that's all
No,
there.
look, it's not a
now.
clerical error. I think that's legit as fuck. And what's happening here is Imi the Vegan has come out as your third award-winning feature film, and now people are starting to pay attention, and it's all that cumulative kind of build-up of all that work over all those years, and people are finally paying attention to the 99th best director in New Zealand and
do you know
and Australia.
Do you know who the 95th best director
Taika
is?
Waititi.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm hot on his heels.
You are hot on his heels.
I'm hot on his fucking heels. I'm 3 away from him. I'm closing in. Right? So, Thor, Love and Thunder, fucking guys coming with the thunder.
I'd say you were 4 away from him, but sure. Okay.
There's a gap of 3.
Yeah, there's 3. But if you were 3 positions better, you still would not be better than him. You'd be 96.
Well, it depends if we swap places.
We wouldn't swap. If you increased your position by 3, then you'd be 96.
If you want to split hairs. If you want to
then nevertheless, you are hot on his heels. There's no doubt about it.
And, I mean, I just want to, point out who else is on this list. Few other people. Roger Donaldson, who did The World's Fastest Indian, Species and Cocktail, among others.
Species was good. I didn't finish watching it, but I did start reading the book. I didn't finish reading the book either.
You didn't finish watching it. You just got up to the naked bit, and then you were done.
I was finished several times, and then same with the book. Basically, I remember I read the book, and it gets up to the first kind of kill. And she
and then you were done again.
I was all done. Basically, she meets an attractive guy at a bar, and he's cool, and she wants to breed with him. Of course, Species. We're talking about the film about a beautiful alien, a beautiful sexy alien that comes to Earth and needs to procreate, and and in this book, she meets a guy at the bar, and then she goes back to his place, and then without the distraction of everybody else in the bar and the cologne and the alcohol and all the other sights and sounds in a bar, when she's alone in a room with him, she can smell that he has diabetes. She can tell that the guy has diabetes, and so she's like, actually, this is not the ideal person to breed with. I'm not keen anymore. But he's like, come on, baby, come on, and tries to force himself upon her, at which point he receives a horrific death.
Never try and force yourself upon an alien.
Well, it's
not going to end well.
That is the moral of the story at the end of the day.
So a few other people on this list. Martin Campbell, Mask of Zorro. He also did that Casino Royale, rebooted James Bond. Mel Gibson, Gibbo, is on there.
What number's Gibbo?
Braveheart.
What number's Gibbo?
Gibbo's 69.
That's a great number.
Cheeky bugger.
Great number.
Cheeky bugger.
Yeah.
James Wan of The Conjuring and Saw and Insidious.
But these are all
Death
Kiwis
Sentence.
and Australians.
Kiwis and Australians. Right. Nicky Caro, who did something famous over here. I can't remember which one. Peter Jackson, PJ, he's on there.
Yeah.
I've got a ways to go to catch PJ. He's at number 60.
Okay. Fucking 60. Christ alive. Who's number 1 on this fucking list?
Well, let's go up to number 1. Number
Baz
47,
Luhrmann.
Jane
It's
Campion.
Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann is actually... Where the fuck is he? I just scrolled. He's 61.
Yeah. Shit.
He's just below PJ. And then
Jane Campion.
We've got Jane Campion.
I'll tell you the truth about Jane Campion. I never heard about her
Jane Campion
until I auditioned.
Because you could have been fucking starring in her fucking film as what
No,
could
but I've
have
auditioned
been.
for a few of her things. And I remember being like,
That's what
I've
I'm
never
saying.
heard of her. I was like, who's this person?
Well,
I was like, why is she auditioning me for her shit? Like, on several occasions. But obviously she's got a soft spot for the Nevs.
Yeah. George Miller, he's on there. Mad Max, of course. Yeah. And then if we scroll right up to the
original
top,
Mad Max.
Yeah. Well, he did them all.
Okay.
Jeff Murphy.
Yeah.
The Quiet Earth.
Okay.
I think he did Goodbye Pork Pie as well, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
one of the famous New Zealand
Yeah.
films. But the tippy top, who's number
Who is
one?
number one?
Who is it? Who is
Yeah.
it? Charles Tate. Do you know what he did?
Father of the famous murderer, Lady Tate.
Sharon Tate? Sharon. That's the one.
Yeah.
No. So Charles Tate made The Story of the Kelly Gang in 1906.
All right. So it's one of those
Wondering
situations
he's
where he's
number
not
one.
actually the best. They just said it because he's done he was a pioneer.
He's
a
the
pioneer.
first.
Yeah. He's a pioneer.
He's a pioneer.
Yeah. Well, you know.
1906.
Well,
I've got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Got a ways to
well,
go.
to be honest though, to be on the same list as Peter Jackson, Mel Gibson, and
Taika Waititi,
and all the rest of them, that is
George Miller,
actually
Vincent
pretty
Ward,
impressive because I really didn't think it was
Jade
going to be, you know,
Lee Tamahori,
I did not think it was going to be
Andrew Adamson,
caliber. So
Peter Weir.
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying that it's a great list to be upon, and you should really hold on to that for the rest of your life, and also just promote it relentlessly.
For the rest of my life. Like the time the mayor gave you a shout out and show me shorts. Yeah. Just hold on to it for the rest of your life. Hey, that's me. The mayor said hello to me. He thinks I'm a cool guy.
Actually, what you're referring to is when the mayor of Auckland
he gave me a shout out, the mayor
said in front
of a VIP.
in front of a collection of New Zealand's filmmaking glitterati, he acknowledged my work by name.
Special thanks.
By name. And there's, 1.2 million people, 1.5 million people in Auckland, and whose name is in the mayor's mouth? Harley frickin' Neville. That's who. So yeah, look, they are similar. Only mine's real life. Only mine's real life, and yours is the internet.
Well, IMDb, mate, is the be-all and end-all for us filmmakers, apparently.
Are you higher than me or lower than me in IMDb ratings?
I haven't checked, actually. The star ranking. We haven't checked
the listeners will have to check it out.
We have to look at
Who's
that.
got a higher or lower star ranking?
Have a look.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that this has also become my most popular post on Facebook that I've ever posted.
Well, it's
I posted
great news,
that
isn't
I was
it?
in the top
It's great
100.
news. It's big news.
Well, it's fucking stupid because it's a fucking dumb made-up list from they accidentally put me on. So, they accidentally put me on based on probably something to do with my.
But it sounds more serious than it is.
Customer engagement rating.
Now that you tell me this.
With recent films.
No, but now that you tell me this, it seems like a much bigger achievement than I thought it was. I was like, oh, it's just some dumb internet thing, but I'll share it anyway. But now I see that it's like the dumb internet thing with big names on it,
On the internet.
Yeah.
It's a dumb internet thing on the internet.
Yeah. Well, look, I tell you
anyway,
what it reminds me of, right? Is you're the 99th best director in Australia and New Zealand, and that
look, that will be my title going forward. Anytime I introduce myself in a room, I'll say 99th best director in Australasia as rated by IMDb.
Well, look, I would claim it if I was you, Guy. I'd be claiming that, and I'd be writing it as far as it goes.
Might go on the CV. Could do that.
No. Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning.
Not real list. Could go on the CV.
It does a little bit remind me of my KFC career because there was 93 KFCs in New Zealand when I used to work at KFC, and I was a cook and damn good at my job.
Yeah.
I was a KFC cook and damn good at my job. I used to walk places in slow motion. That's how good I was at my job. And
you were so good at your job as a cook that you got fired from working at McDonald's.
You've got that story
prior to getting that
story
job.
All wrong. I didn't get the job in the first place at McDonald's.
Well, no, you were fired from your job training.
I didn't get the job. No, I never got the job at McDonald's. That's not the same as being fired. Okay?
Yeah. No, you were.
That's not the same, Guy. I never had the job. You can't fire me from a job I never had. So I didn't get.
You were fired from your job
I didn't get a
experience.
job at McDonald's. The problem was I didn't fit the little fucking cubicle square that I've got to fit inside to be one of these horrible plebs. All you McDonald's losers. I went to KFC, and so anyway,
Where the rebels
went. The
dregs of
the dregs of society. No,
fast food industry.
no, the people who
Go to
rebel
work.
against society's norms. And so anyway,
who don't confirm with the patty approach.
no. Do you have any
Anyway,
idea how many chickens that had been tortured and murdered that I cooked and sold to people from lower socioeconomic, stratas of society? That's what I did for a living. I took chickens. I didn't have to murder them myself, but these chickens, I would get them from the freezer. They'd already been chopped up, and what would happen is, say it got busy out the front, one of the drooling, front counter workers would scream out the back, 15 head down, or 30 head down. And I would hear that, and I would know that 15 head means I've got to put down a certain amount of dead chickens, and 30 head means I've got to put down double that amount of dead chickens. And, 45 head down, and so on and so on and so on. So it depended how busy it was. I'd take these chickens and I'd cook them up. Why was I talking about KFC again?
Well, you were the top cook, and you're likening this to my achievement as the 99th best.
So anyway, I am taking this somewhere. I am taking this somewhere. Which is that as I sat there torturing these, deep frying these murdered chickens, something which I am not proud of, I did nevertheless do my best at that job. And as every job I do, I did my best, and I was repeatedly, time after time after time, as I worked at KFC, my chicken was rated as high as it could possibly be rated by the secret shoppers. And the thing is that KFC and the associated brands, Stars they call it, the Stars brand or something. It's KFC, Pizza Hut, and one of the other ones. And they're all owned by the same people. And they would send out these secret shoppers, and they would come and check the chicken, check the shop, all the rest of that stuff. And every single time, my chicken got 10 out of 10 because I was a KFC cook and damn good at my job. But unfortunately, one of the people out the front would be drooling, or there'd be like fucking, feces on the counter or whatever. So anyway, the point
jerking off into a bucket.
Someone was jerking off into the fucking powdered potatoes again. And the point is anyway that there was 93 KFCs in New Zealand. Yeah. And this was a list of the 100 best directors, right? And you were number 99. There was 93 KFCs in New Zealand at the time when I was working there. And my KFC was ranked number 92 out of 93. And that's a fact. Number 93 was Alexandra. Number 92 was Dunedin Roslyn. And so Dunedin Roslyn was number 92. And so I guess what I'm suggesting here is that maybe there's only 100 directors in New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah, that's the big leap in this comparison. That's really the where the stats may be lying. But yes, if you consider that there's actually only 100 directors in New Zealand and Australia of all time, and you also consider that you were the 92nd out of 93 KFCs in New Zealand, then we are on par.
Same. That's all I'm saying.
So, you're familiar with this type of accolade. It wasn't that you were the second worst KFC in New Zealand. You can't look at it that way.
No.
You can't look at it that there was only one KFC in all of New Zealand that was worse rated than your KFC. You can't see it that way.
No.
92nd best.
Yeah, exactly. And you were the 99th best.
And I'm the 99th best. So Exactly
If anybody
the
would
same.
like to see the movies directed by Guy Pigden, they can, and they should. They're available on Amazon Prime, and you can go and search for Older. Just go to olderfilm.com to see the latest and greatest film. Well, actually not latest anymore. You can also see I Survived a Zombie Holocaust on Amazon Prime, and you can see Immy the Vegan on Amazon Prime. I did get some negative feedback in person tonight about Immy the Vegan.
No one likes negative in-person
Yeah.
feedback. At least do it out, not in
Yeah,
person.
right?
At least do it via the
Well,
internet.
I, s-
That's how we like to receive our negative
I
feedback.
sent Immy the Vegan, the Amazon, version, to a friend of mine from the pub, and he said he lasted 5 minutes and then had to give it up. He was like, he just hated it so much. He just hated it so much.
Well,
and I was like, did you get to the first song? Did you get to the first song? And he was like, no, I don't think I did, but I was also quite drunk. But, he gave it up.
Who the fuck is this knobhead?
I think it's too Kiwi for some people. I think some Kiwis are like, this is so cringy and Kiwi. It's Kiwis trying to be funny. And it's the same thing. It's the same shit that you and I talk about when we talk about other people's Kiwi shit being fucking too Kiwi.
No, it's tall poppies, mate. It's like, look, that guy came in hating that. He hated that you'd made it. He hated that you'd created something. He hated that you'd done something above your station, shall we say, as a fellow bartender.
Well, he doesn't work there. He works at an advertising agency, a big advertising agency. He's an established industry professional. He's not one of my colleagues. This is a guy. Okay. This is a guy who moves and shakes.
Web series turned feature film is he made?
Well, it's not about what he's done.
I fucking rest my case. Actually, no, it is about what he's done.
No, it's not. It's about his opinion of the quality of it.
Yeah, but his opinion is based on the concept that he's like, this fucking guy Harley. I could run rings around him if I ever did this shit. I just never had time.
Maybe.
But now I gotta watch this fucking BS. Oh, I didn't last 5 minutes, mate. It didn't last fucking 5 minutes. It's fucking cheesy. And it's like, oh, fuck off. You watched it, hating on it for 5 minutes, and then you turned it off because you wanted to hate on it. Different stuff. Just fucking disgusting. Yeah. Who is this guy? Go around there.
Well, his name's Luke. He's
I won't go around there.
Look. I would say that he's about. He might be taller than you, but that you are in.
Okay, I won't go around there.
But I would say that you are in better shape.
Skinny?
That you'd be more likely. I think you would beat him in a fight if it came to it. If push came to shove, as long as nobody tells him about your hips.
Yeah, don't go for the hips, mate.
But if nobody tells him about your hips, then you would probably beat him in a fight.
About my weak spots. So. Yeah, no, to me, if he'd said, look, I watched it. Look, I watched 3 bits of it. I gave it a good go, and it just wasn't like, I didn't really engage with the humor. But it's even that attitude of, couldn't last 5 minutes, mate.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking do it, It was just,
Well, he joked that he was avoiding talking to me because he was worried about having to have this conversation, which he said, I couldn't handle 5 minutes of the latest project you've made. I'm more
fired up about this. I'm more fired up about this feedback than the feedback about me being the shittest actor in the world with the dead eyes and older.
Well, or that other shitty feedback you had about you being the second worst director in New Zealand, the 99, in New Zealand and Australia. There was other feedback you received recently.
I'm fired up about this one because this is Tall Poppy personified.
Well,
right
look,
here. That's it.
You might be right.
The Tall Poppy attitude.
I did say to him, I felt like he didn't really, give it a proper go, and no,
he didn't give it a fucking proper
exactly,
go.
because the thing is, I hate the first 5 minutes too, but when you watch it, you're kind of like, hey, actually, you start to get. And I did say this to him. I said, look, man, you need to immerse yourself in the universe of Immy the Vegan. And then once you watch it with that mindset, you're like, I'm starting to get it now. It's actually quite funny. But it takes more than 5 fucking minutes to do that.
Luke. Look, man, you need to stop being a Tall Poppy cunt.
Yeah.
fucking, that's what you need to stop
You heard
doing.
it, Luke.
Maybe think about that.
Well, I tell you what, Luke, if you're listening, don't take any of this. Don't take any of this too seriously. I'll always keep you two apart, and you know, please buy me another drink another time.
Look, shit all over something when you've watched
well,
it.
to be fair, shit all over it when you've watched it, Luke. What are you up to, mate?
Don't come in hating like a fucking tool pop.
Well, the thing is, he should have checked out at least our other productions as well. If he had checked out Older and I Survived the Zombie Holocaust, both of which I sort of recommended as being more his flavour. If he had checked those out, but he clearly hasn't, because he didn't say to me, oh, you know, I watched Emmy the Vegan, I could only handle 5 minutes, it's shit. But I watched Older, but I watched I Survived the Zombie Holocaust. But he didn't say that. He obviously only checked out one. He obviously only checked out Emmy the Vegan. Which is least suited to.
Nah. It's all very disappointing to hear that. But
classic Luke. Shout out to Luke. I don't
Luke.
actually think he's going to listen, but he did say he was going to give the podcast a go. But
oh, fuck off. He'll tool poppy all over that too. Oh, sorry, boys. I gave it a couple minutes. I fucking had to turn you off. You're too annoying.
To be fair, we are quite annoying. And,
but
you know, and it's still nice that he bothered to check it out. I mean, this is a guy who works in an advertising agency.
No, it's not. If he bothered to check it out, fucking bother to check it out properly. Or don't do it at all. Don't do something like half-ass little bitch 5 minutes. Oh, I
fucking you heard it, Luke.
Oh, I'm so fucking lazy. Oh, I couldn't really be giving you my time that I said I was going to give you. I just wanted to shit on this a little bit, you fuckers.
Well, he should... He should check out Older. I did tell him. I was like, look, you got to check out Older, man. He should
check out Emmy the Vegan properly.
Well, he should.
Stop being a fucking royal prick about it.
And
that's what he
should so should the fucking listeners. If you listeners haven't listened to... haven't seen...
Go off the listeners.
If they haven't seen I Survived the Zombie Holocaust, Older, and Emmy the Vegan, you know, I mean, are you even our friends?
What we should say to the listeners is, because lots of them have gone on to IMDb and Amazon and given Older a rating.
Thank you.
And we
do
really appreciate
You guys
that.
know that everything we say is tongue-in-cheek and we love you, right?
What we need you to do is do the same now for Emmy the Vegan. It's available on Amazon Prime. And it's also, we have an IMDb. And so to push it up and to get it, we need reviews and ratings. So all the people that were kind enough to give us a review on Older, all the listeners, you probably haven't quite got round to Emmy the Vegan, but we should post a link to it in the show notes, and then you guys can just, you know, type up a nice review, say it rocks. If that's what you believe, of course, with fucking Luke.
Unless you're Luke.
Unless you're tool poppy Luke shitting on all his mates.
Luke from the advertising agency.
Like the fucking granddaddy, because he's making fucking over 100K a year. Oh, yeah, well, I would be doing that sort of little web series shit myself, but I make a bit too much money most of the time. Right. And I'm pretty busy with my advertising.
He's a corporate sellout if you think about it.
He's a fucking corporate stooge. Fucking just like the other mates.
A succubus.
I gave him 5 minutes. Yeah, it was pretty fucking stupid, boys. What do you think? Let's go down to the fucking pub and think up some fucking ads. We're madmen, guys. We're fucking madmen.
Classic Luke.
Oh, let's give a fucking ad for cigarettes.
Fucking Luke.
Incident Hedges. I've come up with a new ad for Coca-Cola. It's going to be revolutionary. Now give me my $5 million contract. Luke.
Well, look.
Anyway,
Luke, if you are listening, Luke, we mostly apologize for most of that. As long as you go along and check out Older at olderfilm.com, where I survived the zombie holocaust.
I know that if you're listening to this, that in your head you're like, I'm really pissed off about all these insults that have been leveled at me and the mockery, but I'm also really pissed off because you've hit a nerve in me of what I did, which is be that fucking guy. And I've been that guy my whole life, and now you've kind of called me out and pointed it out to me, and that also pisses me off. So now I'm going to shit on you doubly, but deep in my heart, in my heart of hearts, it's like, yeah, I am a tall poppy cunt, and I do this to people because I know deep down I would like to do this shit too. And I'm pissed off they did it and I didn't. Isn't that right, Luke?
Exactly. Check your
Anyway.
privilege, Luke.
Yeah, check your fucking marketing madmen privilege. Fucking Don Draper cunt. All right, so
moving on from young Luke, who's listening, he's crying in his bedroom. He's just so upset. He's just so upset. He's like, I was just talking to this guy at the pub, and I shut down his thing, and now I'm on the internet.
Deep down, he knows that too. Deep, he doesn't want to admit that.
All right, okay.
But he comes in shitting. But anyway,
he does have an Amazon account. He's going to give us 1 star on everything now.
I don't share this podcast with him. It's not going to help our cause.
Well, I sort of told him I was going to.
Well, he ain't going to be happy
then. Shout out to Luke. Thanks for tuning in. He's a new member of the 5150. This is his trial by fire. There's a better word than that. But anyway, look, the point is.
The reality is, we don't have to worry about anything I fucking said about this because you go give it a listen, mate, and he will. For about 3 to 4 minutes and go, oh yeah, I had to turn you guys off. You're just fucking annoying. So it's like, sweet, mate. Well, you've just missed all this me shitting on you. Like you missed every fucking thing.
Take that, motherfucker, because you didn't pay attention.
So,
exactly. I did say to him, I said, well, did you hang out? Did you hang out until one of the songs? Did you catch one of the songs? No, he didn't even catch one of the songs. It's like, okay, mate, look, listen, you got to give something a chance. You've got to establish the world before you can shit on the world. You've got to go, all right. So it takes 5 to 10 to 20 minutes to figure out, to establish this world and these characters. So if you give it 5 minutes,
world building,
you got to build the world, man. Now, to be fair, a lot of people would argue that in this day and age, everybody wants the world to be built before them, within a few seconds, and that maybe as filmmakers, we failed to catch him within that finite period of time. The type of time period in which Luke is used to operating in, which is an advertising time period, as a man who works in advertising, he knows that you've got 30 seconds to 60 seconds to actually catch somebody, and then you can hold them for a little bit. And maybe we failed to catch him.
No, it's not about failing to catch him, because Luke has never given anything made in New Zealand a chance.
You're just making up stuff now. You don't even know him.
But particularly,
he might love heaps of New Zealand stuff.
Anything made by his friends a
How
chance.
do you know that?
That's really weird. Because he's a tall poppy
You're
cunt.
just making that up now. You're just upset about the feedback.
I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up. He watched it for 5 minutes. That's what a tall poppy cunt would do.
Yeah.
If he was
well, he should have given it a better go, to be fair.
Oh. I had to turn it off, mate. But that's the first fucking thing a tall poppy cunt would say.
Yeah.
It's not that they would even, they wouldn't come at you with,
well, let's see if he watches,
criticism.
Let's see if he watches,
true feedback.
Older or I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Oh, man, we're going to get a pasting now.
Why?
I've really, because I've really teed him up.
Oh,
now.
no.
He's really
mate, he's going to be so upset. Now, to be fair, he does not strike me as the type of guy that would get upset by any of this, which is why I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable to continue talking about him.
Well,
and send him the episode.
I'm very confident because he's never going to get to this part of the episode, so it's fine.
Right.
But listener feedback, apart from this guy who's not a listener, but fan feedback. We've got some questions to answer. Let's get into it.
Okay. All right. So we've got some feedback here. Now, this comes from Dottie Pie on the live stream. Now, we didn't get to this question last week on the live stream. So Dottie Pie had 2 questions for us. The first question is, when did you guys lose your virginity and how? I'll read the second question, then we'll go back to the first question. The second question is, who should speak for Earth when the aliens come? All right, so how did we lose our virginity? When and how? And who should speak for us with the aliens? But so we'll start with the virginity. Do you want to go first on that one?
Well, sure. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet.
Okay.
For the sake of my family members listening.
Well, I feel like that's a cop-out. And actually, without spoiler alert, I'm not going to give any spoilers actually about your virginity, but I did actually not very long ago notice on a dating app the lovely lady that you lost your virginity to, whom obviously I swiped to the right. No match on that one.
Yes, so that was my girlfriend in question, 16,
23 years ago.
At the tender age of 16, this girl who now does live up here in Auckland.
I know, she's within 2 kilometers of me.
And is single at this time. We were in a relationship. I was quite concerned that I was going to remain a virgin until I turned 17. And I was in a bit of a hurry, shall we say, to not be a virgin at 17.
As I recall, in the friendly competition that we had, the camaraderie that 16-year-old boys had, I might have beaten you to that one.
To be perfect, it's true. But to be perfectly
not by
honest,
much.
I was quite happy just kissing girls at the time.
Me too.
And so here I was kissing girls. The kissing girls was the time of my life. It was exciting.
I would love to kiss a girl.
It gave you butterflies in your stomach. It was amazing. It was magical. You know, you're feeling all these feelings. The adrenaline was going, and so I was just kissing girls, and I thought that was the be all and end all. And then people are cool. I'm having sex, and I was like, "What? What do you mean you having sex?" It's like, "Yeah, I had sex with this person or that person." I'm like, "What? You mean like intercourse?" And they were like, yeah, we do it all the time. Yeah, what? Haven't you? Do you not do that? And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, of course I do. I do all that stuff too. I know all about sex. I know everything about it, and I do it all the time. And I'm amazing lover, actually, so I've been told. That's what I've been told, at least. And so, but I was like, and then it was just like, it went from kissing's cool, kissing's number one, to our entire friend circle being like, yeah,
I'm doing it.
I'm not a bit. I'm doing it.
I'm doing
and
it.
If you're not, you must be a bit of a loser. And it was like, shit, I can't be the only person.
I feel like you're getting your life mixed up with the life of Dawson from Dawson's Creek. I think you're getting mixed up.
No, I wasn't at all. Like, there was a whole bunch of people in our friend circle who had sex, and I wasn't one of them. And I was like, shit. And they would be like ticked off. Like, it was like, oh well, you know, that was just one person. And then it was like, oh well, actually, I heard that person had done it as well. And it was like, okay, actually, really, like most of these people have done it now, but I haven't. And it was sort of like, well, shit, I'm going to start thinking about this seriously, and try and have it, try and do it.
And that's your story.
And so basically, my story was I was dating my girlfriend. It was a bit of a race to not turn 17, and sometimes when we'd have an argument or something like that, she'd be like, do you want to stay a virgin till you're 17? And I'll be like, oh, no, and apologize for whatever dumb thing I'd said. But that was always the sort of like little thing like, well, do you want to stay a virgin, dumbass? But anyway, I met one magical night. My parents, you know, who I was living with because I was 16.
Listening right now to the show.
And who are listening right now, shout out to my parents, were away. They were out. And it felt like the right time to do it. And so we did. And, you know, it was a great couple of minutes. You know, it was a really good 1 to 3 minutes there. that was really cool, and we both had a lot of fun. And to be honest, as I have mentioned in the past, but I was sort of like, that's it. That's sex. There's not something else. There's no grand thing that is this this is really the culmination until this point. But to be fair, for all you virgins out there that are listening to this, don't worry. To be fair,
there is quite a lot of virgins listening to the Guy and Harley podcast. Yeah.
Don't worry, don't be disheartened. I only had that feeling until I didn't wear a condom one time. And then I was like, and it was a lot better. Yeah. So I'm obviously practice safe sex, but also, if you want it to be good, probably, make sure you get on the same wavelength with your partner and maybe try it without the old Jimmy at some point.
You totally just encouraged unsafe sex.
No,
I don't mean to encourage unsafe sex, but maybe you should just have unsafe sex with people sometimes because it feels way better.
Do all the things. Take the test. Man. Be safe about it, and then go from there.
I wish somebody would have sex with me. That'd be great.
Yeah, with or without a condom.
Well, look, I mean, beggars can't be choosers, No. At this point, I don't really have any negotiating points. It's like the surrendering without terms, basically. And so, but as for me, for when I lost my virginity, I haven't really thought about how I might present this actually, but I guess we'll just
told this story before on the podcast.
Yeah, I feel like I've mentioned it, but I don't really remember exactly what I said. But the
whole story.
But okay, all right. So I just won't even bother telling it.
No, go on. Off you go.
So I was 10 years old when I lost my virginity, and she was 10 years old as well. And we'd been very good friends for about 6 years. I remember having my 4th birthday at her house, sort of thing. I'd known her for a very long time.
You've known each other for years. This was a long-term relationship. Well, this was a 6-year relationship.
Well, not quite. It was a 6-year friendship for sure. It was a 6-year friendship. And every now and then we would fool around and show each other our bits and, so on and talk about these kind of adult things. And then one day I was sleeping at her house and we were top and tailing, and she said, we could hear through the walls, we could hear her parents who were having an intimate moment. And she said to me, Harley, would you want to... Oh, nothing. And I was like, what? Have sex with you? And she was like...
really jumped in
and
there.
She was like, yeah, right? Now, to be fair, it really was 100% her idea. And I was like, oh, I don't know, I've kind of got to go pee and stuff, And she was like, well, just pee in the pot plant. You'll be right. So I peed in the pot plant in her room. And then we, kind of did it. And she was very much leading the way. And she had been abused at some point in her past. So she knew a lot more about what was going on than me,
It's really scary. That part of the story is really disturbing.
Yeah, well, the whole story. I mean, my whole life is quite disturbing when you really actually want to tell the stories. And so she was like, she had been, abused and so on, so she knew a bit more about it than me, and she was like, yeah, okay, here's what we're gonna do. And then the rule was that the person on the bottom had to have the pillow over their face, which again, not my rule. And I started on the bottom, and then she got on top, and away we went. And we swapped positions, and then it was a bit like my birthday in the sense that nobody came, and then I said, oh, we should stop doing this. And then we stopped doing it. And then in the morning we sort of had like a little kind of what if she got pregnant sort of conversation, because she was like, oh, my stomach hurts, But I mean, she didn't, and I hadn't even come or anything like that. And so that was how I lost my virginity when I was 10. And then I didn't do it again. So I consider that to be my first virginity. But then I had my second virginity, which is kind of the more like traditional virginity losing, which was when I was 16. And there was a girl that I did feel very strongly about, and I was very interested in her and very excited by her. And she was, she was from my neighborhood and stuff like that. And I went around to her house. She was my girlfriend, and I went to her house. And then, well, basically it was just time, and we sort of decided to do it. And I remember that she came as well, which made me very proud. I was like, fuck yeah, who's the man here? Who's the man here? First time. I've never done this before, people. I've never done this before. And look. So I was quite happy about that.
3 points on the first try.
It's not bad, right? And then...
Swish.
And then and that was it. That was my first time. And it was a very pleasant experience. And that's all I've got to say about that. Dottie Pie. So Dottie Pie was who asked that question on the live stream.
Also, shout out to the girl that you lost your virginity to the second time, as she's a big fan of Older.
She is a big fan of Older, actually. She did send some...
She's a big fan of Older.
Yeah, so I don't know if she...
chimed in with some nice feedback about that. Didn't give it 5 minutes.
No. I don't know if she listens to the podcast or not. I doubt it. But yeah, shout out to her. And that is good that she did, she loved Older, but she also messaged us specifically to say that she loved Older. So thank you very much to her for that feedback. And for both
gifts.
For both, exactly. And for the pleasant, welcome into adulthood. So that's how I lost.
Shout out to our ex-girlfriends who gave us a pleasant welcome into adulthood. Shout outs on the podcast.
Well, that might be the name of the episode.
This week.
Pleasant welcome into adulthood, but it could be too many words. So just writing that down.
Next question.
Yeah, so the next question is from Dottie Pie.
Can't.
So the next question is from Dottie Pie. Who should speak for Earth when the aliens come? Who should speak for Earth when the aliens come? Now, do you...
All right, who you picking?
All right, okay. So, it seems quite obvious to me that if one human needs to speak for humanity when the aliens come, if the aliens come like tomorrow, and we need to put forward a person to officially negotiate, it seems very obvious to me that person should be Jacinda Ardern of the House Labour. The Prime Minister of New Zealand, I feel like she has the temperament for it, the intelligence for it. I really feel like if we've got to put forward anybody to speak to the aliens for the first time, we should put forward Jacinda Ardern to chat, negotiate, and just initially make contact. That is my humble opinion. Dottie Pie, who should speak for Earth when the aliens come? Jacinda Ardern of the House Labour.
So I agree with... I was actually going to pick Jacinda because not only that, she's very good in a debate. She's been getting grilled about the questions around COVID and what they're doing and what the government's doing. She's always got a smart, articulate answer. So when the aliens come down and they're like, yo, what the fuck are you doing with this planet? She'll be like, well, we're working on things. We're doing this. And, New Zealand is actually, at the forefront of this. And we've made a pledge to reduce carbon emissions to zero by 2050, and please don't annihilate us. And so I think that should be good. Should be good. Also, we've just got just quickly sidebar. We've just got a new review from Me the Vegans. So we did get a review from your friend Luke as we dwell. Well, we've just got a new V.
Okay.
And this is from Tessa Holes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's about a girl with a mental illness, in brackets, vegan, looking for a man with a similar mental illness.
So it's a vegan hater.
So good. So good. Not.
Oh my God, what a moron. And how many ratings is this?
That's two. Well, that's our second review.
But how many stars?
I can't.
How many stars?
Well, I can't see how many stars on that one. I can't see how many.
I think
stars.
that's one of the problems, right? Is that people are not ready to embrace the revolution. A lot of people out there go, "Look, well, I'm a meat eater, so I can't support a vegan thing." But they're just simply not ready to embrace the revolution, which is that if humanity has a future, it's probably quite a veganish or at least vegetarian future. And I think that people kind of identify with how they eat, and they feel like they're under attack. And so that's why you get people like this ball bag who are upset really because it's about veganism. Because that's cognitive dissonance, right? Cognitive dissonance. They're upset. It makes them feel uncomfortable because they know they're wrong, because they know that to slaughter these animals and to raise these animals in farms and factories and then murder them on this industrial scale, they know it's wrong. They know that they're supporting it every time they buy that food, and yet it's an ingrained part of their culture or society or whatever. And so, yeah, they become angry, and then what they do is they write shitty reviews on IMDb about anything that has the V word in it.
Well, anyway, that's another. So we've so far we've got two bad reviews for the vegans. So
and that's it.
Please,
is that IMDb?
Yeah,
that's IMDb.
Yeah.
All right. So the thing is, the listeners can go right now. Right now, you can press Control-T, new tab, and then you can go to IMDb. And what you can do is you can give us a good rating. And you go, well, I don't have an IMDb account. Just go imdb.com and then click on it, and there'll be a thing to let you log in. And when you hit log in, it'll ask you if you want to log in with either Google or Facebook. And I frankly refuse to believe that you, dear listener, do not have a Google or Facebook account. You're a fucking liar. Your reality is built on a throne of lies. I don't believe you. So hit log in with Facebook or Google, and then go to our IMDb page for Emmy the Vegan, and you can give it a good rating. Same with Older the Movie, and same with I Survived the Zombie Holocaust. You can go there and you can give these good ratings out of 10. It gives you a 10-star rating option. How many stars out of 10. And you give it what you think it deserves. Somewhere in the vicinity of 8 or 9 would be amazing. And then, write a wee review about it.
10 stars would not be amazing. So if you think it's worth 10 stars, give it 10 stars. But just know that they often don't count 10-star reviews, unfortunately.
8 or 9 is apparently the sweet spot.
Well, I think 7 or 8 is the sweet spot. Yeah? 9 or 10. Yeah, 7 or 8 is the sweet spot. So I'm told.
Every review I've ever given has been a complete waste of time.
Thank you.
I've given a lot from a lot of different accounts. And they've all been 10s.
Yeah. Well, only in IMDb is that an issue. So, next question.
All right. I did want to give a shout out to Jason P. Diddy Combs from Savannah, who has recently informed us that a mutual friend that we've never met in real life, there is a mutual friend in Auckland who has agreed to go and pick up and give to us some bottles of Tennessee whiskey for the 200th episode, which is this is episode 198, so it's coming up soon. So on the 200th episode, theoretically, we would have received this Tennessee whiskey, and we're going to be able to drink it on the show. So I wanted to shout out to Jason Peterty Combs, all the way from Savannah, who's organised that for us. Thank you so much. We do very much appreciate it, and he will, of course, be the official sponsor of the 200th episode of the Guy and Harley podcast.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's going to be huge. Huge show.
It's going to be huge. Maybe if I do like the idea of us doing that one in person. Maybe if we can get together and do it actually in the in the studio.
Yeah,
that would be lovely. Now, next question, right? So we've got two more questions. Now, this one comes from Jamie Oxley. Now, Jamie Oxley is a truck driver and a listener of the podcast. He's a Sifty 160 listener. Jamie Oxley, he cruises the outback late at night, and it's really just him and the horizon, you know. It's him, the horizon, and the occasional roo which bounds alongside the truck every now and then, and
same speed.
At the same speed, obviously, and that's Jamie Oxley, and he's got a mullet which blows in the wind and under the sparkly, twinkly sky. I bet he's listening right now as he drives through the outback, and if he were to just hang his arm out the side and look up at the sky, he would see nothing but beautiful twinkling stars, because Jamie Oxley lives and works over there in paradise, the deep outback. So he had a couple of questions for us, and these questions are as follows. What is our favourite Pigville movie shoot and why?
Okay, off you go.
Oh, all right, good. So I would have to say that for me, it's a very obvious one if you ask me, which is I've had a lot of fun on a lot of our different shoots, and I particularly enjoyed a lot of our smaller fun things like, you know, the Heat and Eat and, you know, the Guy and Harley podcasts, the Guy and Harley sitcom skits and shows that we did, and the little skits. So I had a lot of fun making that stuff. And so I really enjoy all of those shoots, you know, because they're low pressure, they're fun. We just do them because we can. We've got a camera and two people and an idea, and we make something happen, and that's fun and you know, like low stress and enjoyable and cool. And so I really enjoyed a lot of those. But you know, I also was the lead actor in I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, which was our biggest budget you know, feature film, and so I really enjoyed, obviously, being the center of attention, the lead character in this film, the really kind of part of the hub.
Number one on the call sheet,
kind of part of the hub. But not just, I wasn't just an actor. That's the thing, was I was a part of the team that applied for the funding, and I had been involved in many different ways, you know, from sort of start all the way up to that point. And now here I was, after all that work, standing in the center of it all, you know, with the camera pointed at me. Which was obviously a great experience, a huge step up in my career, a huge step in the right direction, all that type of thing, and a lot of fun. So obviously, I Survived a Zombie Holocaust for me was probably my favorite Pigville shoot, even though I enjoyed those other little ones as well. But I was just in a better place there, right? I was in the place to be on that shoot. And it was the one with the most money.
Yeah, so for me, that is also my favorite shoot, Zombie Holocaust.
Really? I thought even though it was the most traumatic experience of your life.
Yeah, even though it was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life, and my least favorite, one of my least favorite. It's maybe wrong to say least favorite life experience. Is certainly one of the most traumatic, certainly one of the most stressful, certainly one of the most eye-opening, like, hey, you're a fucking adult now, mate, and being an adult fucking sucks. You're in the middle of it, brother, and you gotta fucking suck a lot of cock right now to get out. The only way you're going to get out of here is you're going to suck a lot of fucking cock from all these different angles, and you're going to have to fucking get it done, mate. That's the only way.
And if you're in doubt, just suck faster.
Suck another one. Just suck a fucking. Grab another one. Grab one by the hand. You just gotta fucking do it,
Sometimes
mate.
you've
There's no way out of this.
gotta grab life
No way
by
out
the
of
base.
this. So, on the one hand, it was this kind of like sort of crisis stations every day, all these things going wrong, crew mutinies, like sort of pure, like total insanity. But on the other hand, it was a culmination of working, towards being a filmmaker and a writer director for however long it was then, I guess was 15-ish years, not quite.
It was like 10 years.
No, 10 years, 10. So sort of a decade of working to this point. And then here we were on a real film set with a crew of like 20 or 30 people with real fucking cameras and real equipment and real everything. And here was, Harley Neville starring in this film along with Jocelyn Christian, two of my best friends, were now the leads in this thing, and I was directing it. And like that is regardless of the sort of kind of personal experience, the kind of like, even to look back on it now, go, man, that was fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like that shit was cool. It was cool to have a big dolly track. It was cool to have big giant lights out of a truck. It was cool to have, people making props and, these crazy zombie looks from the, special effects and, all that shit was just fucking cool. Like it was like cool to close down a fucking street, even though it was again one of the super difficult days, but it was fucking cool. We closed down a street and had 1,000 zombies run at you, or close-ish to, so it was like this unique, very special experience to do with, all the people. Like we kind of willed our own reality in it, and we did it, and it was the thing we wanted to do. It's just sometimes when your dreams come true, be careful what you wish for,
because you just might get it.
Just might get it. So it was so there's definitely, but that I would also agree was my favorite. So there's two answers on that one.
Well, the next question from Jamie Oxley is the favorite scene that you and I have worked on. So what's your go on that one?
Well, I'm going to cheat and say a few. So the first one, which I really enjoyed, was the Imi the vegan shoot, and particularly the sort of labyrinth sequence and the sort of party sequence before and after that. So for me, that was super fun. Like Imi the vegan was, from a directing point of view, not what I would call a stressful, super, fuck, everything's going wrong, the house is on fire, we're all in it. It wasn't one of those situations, which some of them have certainly been. And so I got to sort of just concentrate, and that was a scene with you where you were doing lots of funny stuff, and I got to sort of watch that, sort of encourage that, and also like enjoy the sort of homages we were paying to Bowie and all that shit. And I also just love like things where characters kind of spin out and go kind of crazy and lose the plot a little bit. And so all of that was super fun for me. That's definitely one. The other sort of two that really stick out in my head as like the sort of the funniest scenes, or the funniest scenes, is going way back to the classic that we often talk about here on the show, Disgusting Hairy Man. The absolute classic Disgusting Hairy Man, where Harley furiously masturbates to fatty porn, and then ejaculates all over a magazine. And so that was just funny because for me, it was so hilarious to see you just like no shame, no no fear, no fear of looking like the most disgusting, hairiest man, like the most disgusting, hairiest man you've ever seen in your life. Absolutely no fear to plunge straight in with your performance, and like just the things that you were doing facially, which is obviously one of your great talents, is your sort of comedic facials and faces that you can pull. It was just like peak Harley comedic facial genius, along with the absolute commitment to like not going, oh, I don't want to look like I don't really want to look like I'm doing it, guys, or
Yeah.
I don't really want to look real pervy, or I don't want to look that disgusting,
Yeah.
guys. It's like, I want to look like the most disgusting man you have ever laid your eyes upon, and the funniest as
Yeah.
well. And so that was just hilarious because, you know, we had the camera like between your crotch and
Looking
you're
up
just like
between my
looking down
legs.
at, like going,
dribbling on the camera.
dribbling all over it. And that was just like, there was nothing funnier than being on that shoot doing that. So that was a super funny one. And then also like another super funny scene was going way back to our very first film, Future Echoes.
That was our second film, Future Echoes.
No, sorry.
Superstition Bites.
Superstition Bites, where we did 67 takes of something because we just couldn't get the lines right, and we had to just run into frame and say like two lines each basically, and we couldn't get them out, and we were just fucking it up repeatedly for 67 takes. And that was pretty hilarious because it just went so sideways as we tried to do it, because we just got it wrong in so many different ways. We were just so untalented that we managed to get it wrong in so many different ways. That it was pretty hilarious. So that's my picks. That I just picked 3 there. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to say probably Disgusting Hairy Man as well was obviously a standout memory. Like our dear friend Nick, happy birthday to Nick, who recently had his birthday. We had to kick him out. He often shot a lot of things for us. He shot a lot of things for us. He shot Wellington City Rubbish Police and all sorts of things for us. He was our cameraman, and he was 1/3 of Pigville Productions for quite a while there. And we had to kick him out of the room because he couldn't stop laughing, and he was ruining takes as I was going like, and he'd be cracking up, and we'd have to kick him out. So eventually we had to kick him out. So that was indeed a good scene, a good funny scene. Yes. Otherwise, I would just say that generally speaking, most of the scenes that I'm acting in with you in content are fun for me. You know, it's like shooting like the Heat and Eat. You know, that's good fun. You know, and the Guy and Harley skits, that's good fun. Just like low pressure, good fun. You know, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. But it's never happened that way. It's always kind of worked out. Sometimes it's like, oh man, this is not as like hilarious as I'd hoped it would be. But you know, still pretty funny. Still gets a bunch of views. So yeah. So yeah, Disgusting Hairy Man, and then a whole bunch of other Pigville stuff to answer that. So good questions, Jamie Oxley. Now we've probably got time for just one more topic. It is getting quite late. So one last topic was I did want to say that I watched Glimpses, your beautiful documentary that you've shot about your uncle, and it was a very moving experience to watch it. And I don't really think I would bring it up. I don't think I would bring up the documentary on the show if I didn't really, you know, want to talk about it and believe it. You know? So you know, I watched it and I was truly moved by it, and I did wonder. I was like, you know, am I so moved by this because I obviously have a connection, however, you know, far, but I do have a connection to this documentary and these people, and I know some of the people in it.
Yeah.
So presumably that obviously did play a factor, but nevertheless, the fact remains that I watched it and I cried on two separate occasions while watching it, where tears just streamed, and I went and made a little noise, like actually by myself, made a little noise. No, like it's manly to be like, you just don't move, but a tear rolls down your face. But I was like, as
the ugly cry,
as
the ugly
the
cry.
tears rolled down my face because it was such a moving and beautiful documentary, and I do think it has a lot of potential to do very well on the festival circuit and everywhere else. I do think it has a lot of potential. So yeah, it's a very moving documentary about your uncle who passed away because of multiple system atrophy.
Well, thanks, mate. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you did enjoy it, or maybe enjoy is not quite the right word, but it was moving to you. So yes, we have been talking about that documentary for a while. It is kind of nearing completion. I just sort of have to decide what little tweaks we do before we lock the cut. And
my question is,
and send it
how
off.
to reach a wider audience? Because like for me, right, when
Yeah.
I started watching it, right, and the first little while I was like, okay, cool, I'm interested, I'm paying attention. But I was like, if this was not my friend's documentary, and if I didn't know these characters in some way, I would probably turn it off about now.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
but then the thing is that I then continued to watch it because I knew the characters involved. And then I became invested in it because I bothered to give it that extra more than 5 fucking minutes, Luke. And so I
didn't talk poppy yet, mate.
So
didn't talk
exactly.
poppy
So I gave it that extra 5 minutes, and so I was 10 minutes in, and and suddenly now I'm starting to get kind of invested in the characters, and there's I'm beginning to understand the people involved, and I'm interested in it because it all seems kind of real life-ish, and so yeah, I think that's the issue, is getting it's that same old problem, right? Getting people who are not necessarily interested in a documentary about multiple system atrophy to pay attention to a documentary about multiple system atrophy.
It's a tricky one because also medical documentaries are a subgenre. So there are people out there that do enjoy them.
Yeah.
But in saying that, what I'm trying to do with the documentary essentially is be like, it's not just a medical documentary. It's this human story. It's the story of these people who experienced this medical event. And it is a tricky balance between, because you do want to know what it is, how it affects people and what it does. And you do also want to help people. And that's quite important, is that you want to give people an idea of the symptoms and all that sort of thing, so that anybody that thinks or knows someone that thinks they might have it can go and ask about it. They can ask, hey, I've got these symptoms and I've seen this thing, and I'm wondering maybe if these are the tests that we should be doing, because as with my uncle, he was misdiagnosed multiple times over the course of sort of, several years really, when he was displaying these symptoms, because that is the most common thing that happens, because these symptoms get attributed to other medical conditions. And this is the most common thing that happens with this. So it's a very tricky one anyway. That's it. So there's lots of considerations to take into account there. Both as it's a human story, it's a story about these people. It is about a medical condition that we need to shed some light on, and how do you serve both of those things effectively, and also not want to top yourself by the end of it, which is also a potential problem.
Well, I think it's good the way it is. I think in future, always a sound piece of advice is to copy the Netflix documentary formula.
Night Stalker.
So whatever Netflix documentaries are doing, just do what they're doing. But
it's interesting because, and I haven't seen every documentary on Netflix, obviously, but the ones I have are very crimey, crime related for the most part. That seems to be a niche that they're really serving. And I know that they've got like My Uncle the Octopus or whatever the fuck that one is called. I haven't watched that. Yeah.
My teacher,
My Octopus, my Octopus, My Teacher, My Lover, whatever that thing is called. But,
my Octopus Teacher.
My Octopus Teacher and Lover.
Yeah.
Available on Netflix.
I didn't watch that one.
No, I didn't watch it either.
But I am halfway through watching True Crime, the the disappearance of, whoever at the Cecil Hotel. I'm
okay.
3/4 of the way through that one. It's all right. It ain't as good as the Night Stalker, but it's all right.
And the Night Stalker's not as good as Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yep, it's not.
Don't Fuck with Cats. It's not as good as the Ted Bundy one.
I was going to say, that's fair, right? That's fair too. I was also going to put above all of them the Unabomber one. Everybody should watch the Unabomber Netflix doco.
Harley so much. You read the friggin' manifesto.
And then you should go read the manifesto. So you should watch the Unabomber documentary on Netflix, and then you should go read the Unabomber manifesto, available freely on the internet.
So inspired by it. You read the manifesto.
You can learn about the system that's controlling us. I believe that I explained the system before as this system built up by humanity over time to control us all in one way or another. And you can go back and listen to the episode. But your dad chimed in. You explained this notion. You were skeptical that this system might be in place. You actually frequently laughed at me and said that I was like a crazy conspiracy theorist and so on. But then you asked your dad about it, and your dad, an established, educated man, he said that there was something called the invisible hand job. And then ever since then, now you've learned that the invisible hand job is what's controlling us.
Well, the invisible hand job is definitely real, and we know it exists because sometimes we wake up in the morning and it's visited. Yes. The invisible hand job has appeared, and we see the results of what the invisible hand job has done to us.
Maybe in the old days, mate. Maybe in the old days, the invisible hand job doesn't visit me anymore. I wake up in the morning as flaccid as I went to sleep.
The invisible hand job has not paid you a visit. It's like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
He has not visited you recently. No. The invisible hand. Yeah. Right. But anyway, I think it's time to get out of here at 12:30 in the evening.
Morning.
I guess so, yeah.
It is indeed. So thank you very much for listening. Facebook.com/Guy and Harley. Please go to olderfilm.com and go and watch our latest feature film, Older. We would really appreciate that. You can also go and check out Immy the Vegan, which is now on Amazon Prime. IMMI is how you spell Immy. Immy the Vegan is on Amazon Prime, and please give it a good rating and a good review. You can also support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Pigville. If you give us $1 a month, that would make a really big difference to us. It really does all add up, and it all really helps, and it pays for all sorts of important little things that cost us money when we try to create and put out this content. And there's obviously a number of others, but just please go and search for the Guy and Harley podcast, search for Pigville Productions, and we will see you next week.
Yes, thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one.